whatever it gives to security is what it gives back to you. Every day is for the thief, or one day is for the owner. That talks about that the thief is 99 times smarter than the owner. That's what it means. One must need to think like one.
All right, it's good to see everyone on the call. Like Samuel said, consistency is very important, and I've been hearing someone's name before. I had network issue. Joshua, I've been hearing Joshua. I've been in class very early and stuff like that. So please, you guys need consistency. You need to put your heads up because it's a long journey ahead, and you can see that we'll be giving you value. I can see that we even have a female as part of the instructor, and she's one of the best. I'm sure you all enjoyed the class yesterday, and she will also continue today. So there's also opportunities for lady. So she can also be a role model, and she's doing very great in the industry. And we have a lot of people like that. So I wish you all the best. And blessing will take over. So thank you, everyone, and it's good to see you on the call again.
Okay, thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. So good to be here again. All right, so without more let's move on to the same today's class. All right. Hey, so I'll be sharing my screen now, and then you can follow up. Okay. So today we'll start with password cracking techniques and counter measures. Yesterday when I was explaining part of the process of gaining access in ethical hacking, I made mention of password cracking, etc. At least if you want to, maybe do a system hacking, have access to my device, most people now set up password for their devices. You don't just leave them open like that. So that means you must have a way to intrude into my privacy. So now, said password cracking techniques are used to recover password from computer systems. To recover password. So there are different ways that your password have been stored. There are different ways that you keep them. So this is how hackers or attackers get this password and use it for whichever purpose they want to use it for. So attackers use password cracking techniques to gain unauthorized access to vulnerable systems. So just like I explained yesterday, so it is to gain access. You need the password to gain access since it has been secured. Password purpose is just for security also. It's a sign of security to keep something safe. So most of the password cracking techniques are successful because of weak and easily guessable password, which we will still delve into very well. Passwords are so easy to. Your name is your name is Joshua, and then your password is also Joshua, or your password is Joshua 1. These are like easily guessable passwords. So this makes them easy. It makes password cracking successful. Or maybe even if you didn't use Joshua, you already know that there's one other nickname that you like going with, that you like so much. You like people calling you with it. If I want to do password guessing, I would try those things first. Try those things that you don't even notice. One day you did a polo shirt and you now go and put it there. Joshua the first. I already know, okay, these are things that one way or the other, because human brain work in some patterns that you can still guess. And like I said, hackers are highly intelligent people. So they're highly intelligent, they are good at observing, good at critical thinking, etc. So those are the things that makes password cracking successful. So their password complexity, which you have come across in different ways of, different places that you've tried to sign up, create an account for yourself. So, and these are some of the complexity that we have. Password that contains letters, special characters, and numbers. I believe we are, one way or the other used to this. You've had to sign up on some sites or on some apps that you are required to at least one. There must be, your characters must be letters and numbers and all of that. That is what makes up your password. That is what is acceptable. That is the policy of that organization or that website you want to use. So some of them have policy of, oh, it's only numbers we want. You know, it's only numbers that you use for your password. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, or some people go on like in the place of ATM password. You know, before most people use their birthdays as their ATM password. So you are born in 2000, they put 2000 as their password. So these are things that makes it easy. You know, when an attacker wants to guess your password. So some people merge up their months with their birthday and all of that just to make up the password requirements. So password that contains only special characters. This one you will have seen it mostly when you are signing up in maybe on a site that they generate passwords for you. In as much as they will give you the permission to say, okay, you want to set up yours personally, but some of them you just see that they use special characters as your password in auto-generate. So we have password that contains letters and numbers, password that contains only letters. Some of them will say only use capital letter, only use small letter, you know, and there are other sites that will give you permission, like on your phone now. If you go to your security and password setup, you can see you have options. Do you want to use pattern? Do you want to use PIN? Do you want to use password? So these are different ways that you build up your password and their complexity. Okay. So now let's talk about Microsoft authentication. One of the things I mentioned, or one I say it, the most popular, one of the things that an hacker do, like you can't avoid it, no matter at one point or the other you have to do it, or it's something that you want to test first, even when you are trying to learn, is system hacking. And when we come to system, your Microsoft and all that, your Windows, there are authentication protocols or procedures that they follow. And these are some of the authentication methods. We have the SAM, Security Account Manager Database, NTLM authentication, Kerberos authentication. So the SAM, if you if you check your folders very well on your PC, you'll be able to locate a directory that contains your SAM files. So as the name says, Security Account Manager, your passwords are saved in the SAM database. So Windows stores user password in the SAM database, or in the Active Directory database. So that is where your passwords are saved. But the thing is, your passwords are not saved in clear text. They are not in clear, like it's not the way when you're setting it up, you set it up, you use the password blessing, BLEN. On the SAM, you can't find your password as BLESS. So it will already be in a hashed form. So it's already been in hash form. The hash form is like jargons or asterisks that you cannot understand. So that is what we mean by when it is not in plain text, it's not in clear text. So it has already been hashed, be converted to something that is not easy to recognize, to know that this is, it is B that this person put there, or is L. So, and then we have the NTLM authentication. We have the NTLM authentication and also the LM authentication. Now, in as much as the LM authentication is no longer in use, it is no longer being used. If you check your memory, you see that the NTLM database, you see that the LM port is empty because it is no longer in use. Most recent PCs now make use of the NTLM for the authentication. And also we have this Kerberos. So Kerberos Microsoft has upgraded this default protocol, authentication protocol to Kerberos. So, but sometimes if Kerberos fail or you're unable to access it, it now falls back to NTLM. But these two are like, they are in use. These two, the NTLM and also the Kerberos. So when you save your password, like I said before, you save it as blessing. Now, anytime you want to log into your system, you can see that as you are typing your letters, the letters of your password, it is not, even if it shows on your screen as maybe the first B, But you can see it immediately changed back to like an asterisk or maybe a symbol, a dot or something like that. Now, at that moment, what is happening is that Microsoft is already comparing your whatever you are inputting, your input, with the hash values that they have in the SAM memory. Because I told you they are saved there, your password are saved in the SAM memory, your security account manager. So they are saved in the SAM file. So it is comparing it. Anytime you set up your password, we got a new PC, you set it up. That password you set up has been converted to some hash values. So whenever you want to log in back, it compares any character you enter with the values in the SAM memory. And if it matches, it gives you access. You can see when you click enter, it's rows and rows. At that moment, it is doing those checking. Is it correct? Does this, because the BLES that you entered has a value. It has a hash value that is equal to it. So, all right. And let's talk about types of password attack. Type of password attack. There are different ways that you can achieve your goals. There are different ways that attackers use to get this thing. So number one, we have the non-electronic attacks. The non-electronic attacks, which I've mentioned some of them yesterday, shoulder stuffing, social engineering, dumpster diving. When you are doing a non-electronic attack, it means you are not using anything technical. You are not, like, for instance, the way I explained the shoulder stuffing, you just stood behind me and you are stretching your neck to see what I'm typing. You are not using anything technical. You are just just around and getting whatever you want to get, or going to a dustbin to bring out papers that I've dumped there, that I've trashed there, and to check what I wrote in it. So you are doing a non-electronic attack. Most people, because you don't want to, I forget password easily. I don't want to forget my password. You write them down somewhere. You write them down. Sometimes some workers even write them down, post them on their desktop, like on their table. So when they come later and they want to sign in, they can easily remember. So these are ways. So these are non-electronic passwords. So when I get things like that, I am not using anything technical to crack your password. And then we have the online active attack, the active online attack, I mean. So attackers perform password cracking by directly communicating with the victim's machine. I hope you can see my screen well. If I just react to answer me, because I know most people have been. Okay. Okay. All right. So now when you get to the active attack, the online active attack, you can't say you are not using anything technical anymore. Now you are now performing some technical thing. You are now using your skills, your technical skills. And some of the operations that relate to online active attack is we have dictionary attack, brute force attack, rule-based attack, hash injection, MBT, and as net biosis, name service poisoning, Trojan, spyware, keyloggers. So these are ways that you do. Now, when you are using these things, you can't claim you are no longer you are passive. You are no longer passive, because at that moment you are intentionally running some things to make sure that my system, purge out or tell you my password. You get it one way or the other. So when you're doing the dictionary attack, it's like you have a list of like a word list. You get that you now merge up that you use to get the password. When you're doing a brute force attack, from the word brute force, you want to force it. You will force it until it opens. Just like you want to open a door, you bring a hammer. You use hammer to hit it. Hammer did not work. You bring you join what's it called? You add stone to it. Combine stone and hammer. Once it trying to open it, if stone and hammer did not open it, you add shovel to it. That is all called brute force. So you are adding different characters until they are able to, until that password cracks, until you are able to get your results. So rule-based attacks, when you're doing a rule-based attack, it means you've gotten, that attacker has gotten some info about the password, like, okay, this is how this person set up the password, this is how this is the policy of the, this is how they set up the password. So you have some rules that you give on how to get those passwords. You know, and then to net biosys injection Trojan, we explained some malwares yesterday about how they work. So spyware, keylogger. So when you are attacked, or when I attack your system with a keylogger, since whatever you are entering, whatever you are pressing on your keyboard, I will see it as my own end. So imagine you want to log in now, and then you come there, you are on your own system pressing the blessing as your password. And as you are pressing the BLES, I am seeing it at my own end. That is another way. That's what we call keyloggers, and that's another way for password attack. So, or a spyware, when I am spying on everything you are doing on your system. We have password guessing. Like I said before, there are different ways for password. His name is Samuel. Let me try Samuel first. He was giving birth to 1970. Let me put 19. So you just guess. And this guessing, sometimes you have to do your reconnaissance very well before you can just start guessing. You have to make sure that you know your targets very well to some extent before you decide to, okay, let me guess what this person might be using, or what could be the password. And another way is that when we get to default password, you know that some people do not change their password. For instance, most people that get, maybe you buy an MTN router or Airtel router, most people don't go to change their admin page password. They just leave it at the admin that MTN have set for them. So those are like, okay, let me try this first, because some people don't know that they're supposed to change it. And if I'm able to have access to that, you can imagine how many things I can do to you. So we have passive online attack. Passive online attack, an attacker performs password cracking without communicating with the authorizing party, like wire sniffing. So we'll still explain sniffing very well. So you intercept a communication and keep seeing what is going on. Man in the middle attack, replay attack. That replay attack, let me just give you a scenario. It's just like maybe you are someone who use your voice to unlock a door, open your phone, like you do voice recognition. So you say some things, and then there's now somebody around who records your voice as you are trying to maybe use your voice to open your phone using voice recognition. Someone recorded it. Now, later on, when the person now wants to open that device, the person just played your recorded voice. So that's just like an example of what a replay attack is. So while we were sending the authentication message, an attacker has recorded it, gets it, and later send it again, as if you are the one who wants to authenticate or gain access. So that is what we call a replay attack. So we have offline attack. Attackers copies the target password file and then tries to crack password on his own system at a different location. And then we have rainbow table attack, distributed network attack. So these are offline. Okay. All right, I think I'll explain all this. Yeah, password guessing. So frequency of attack is less. The attacker creates a list of all possible passwords from the information collected through social engineering or any other way, and manually inputs them on the victim's machine to crack the password. Failure rate is high, of course, yes. The failure rate of password guessing is high, but sometimes you are successful with it, but the failure rate is high. So the process, you find a valid user, you create a list of possible passwords, rank password from high to low possibilities, and key in each password until the correct password is discovered. But there are countermeasures for this. If you've tried, I think even your phones have that. So if you've tried the password like up to 3 times and they are not correct, they lock it up and tell you maybe try again in 30 minutes or try again. So these are is okay. So like the default password I explained. So a default password is a password supplied by the manufacturer with new equipment, like your router you buy. So we already know that even if I go online and say, what is MTN router password? It's something that I can easily get even using my OSINT. So default passwords. It's advisable that you change the password of whatever you get. Don't just use the one that comes from the manufacturer. So attackers use default password in presence in the list of word dictionary of words or dictionary to perform password guessing attack. Okay. And then we have Trojan and keyloggers. All right. I hope I haven't lost anybody.
No, we are with you. We are with you, ma. We are with you.
Okay, so Bright is raising up his hand. Someone is Bright, okay.
Okay, good afternoon, Miss Blessing.
Good afternoon.
Okay. I have a question, right?
All right.
The question has to do with two questions, anyways. The first one has to do with the brute force. So, that brute force password attack, right? Without me providing, let's say, due to my limited knowledge of how it works, but this is my question. Without me providing any clue, if someone want to use brute force to guess my password, how likely are they to succeed? Like, I don't provide no clue whatsoever for my password, but I want to just use brute force to break in. How likely are they to get that without me providing any clue? That's the first one. Now the second one has to do with the spyware attack you made mention of, like spying. You call it keylogger? Yes, keylogger. So how on my mobile device or my laptop, how can I know that okay, the keylogger is activated on my phone or my laptop, and how can I know so I can just to be security conscious? Yeah, those are my two questions.
Okay, so the knowing that you are being affected by keylogger. Yesterday, I gave some signs of how you know that you are your device has been infected. Yesterday, so I mentioned some of those things, like you start seeing things changing. You start your device start running hot. You just start noticing some malfunctioning, some things that are not supposed to be. You start noticing some movements. So once you start noticing these things, know that okay, yes, there's been an attack. You are now facing, there's a compromise somewhere. So when you are attacked by maybe a keylogger, where someone is checking everything you are inputting on your own device, you would start noticing later that some things are changing. Because it's not possible for me to just I want to monitor whatever you are doing. If I'm monitoring anything you are doing or checking whatever you are pressing, it's because I have what I'm looking for and I want to make use of it. So you start noticing some of those signs I mentioned yesterday, some changes that you didn't authorize by yourself. Your firewall just turned off without you turning it off by yourself. So these are some of the signs, some of the things you will see when you are infected by any malware. Okay, now when we now talk about brute force. Now the thing with brute force attack is you are not the one you didn't give any clue. You are not the one who is giving any clue or whatever. Now I am only using sorry, please excuse me.
Okay, Brian, let me come in there.
Okay, all right. Sorry, I just had to check what was making the noise. So okay, as I was saying, now you are not the one giving any giving me maybe your guessing. It's not password guessing I'm doing at that moment. You get, I am only trying combination of every character until I get the ones that matches up with your own, until I am able to break it. So I am only trying, every possible combination, different. Okay, let's do what's it called? Let's set this password. This password have been in place, like some common passwords, 1 2 3 4 5, and all of that. I am just checking different combination. So I'm not waiting for you to give me any info, or maybe it's not password guessing. So that is why it is a computer-based attack, not. Are you clear now?
Thank you for the clarity. Just still on this brute force, right? Is there a sign also to look out for that? Oh, this particular system is being brute force. Should I say brute force attack? Like, okay, look at the signs, and is there anything to mitigate that way to it for the system? Can recommend for maybe the engineers or whoever to implement this against brute force attack. Is there
Yeah, there
anything
are
like that?
some rules. There are rules you can give by setting up. There are rules in an organization, an organization security postures. There are rules, some things we have said. Do not allow this. Like I made mention before that, okay, if you've tried, you've tried about so you notice that somebody is trying different combination or different password on your network. You get log them out and all of that. There are alerts that let them know. And also for you to know that you are facing maybe someone is brute forcing, it can be you can't just be you just have a laptop alone. Noticing all these things have to do with having a complete uh security, a network monitoring systems that is monitoring what is going on, like for instance your Wireshark. So that is noticing who is trying this, who is sending this, noticing the passage of payloads and data and all of that. But it's not something that you just know without those monitoring systems or devices. Do you get it now? Hello?
Yeah, Miss. Yeah. Yes. Thank
All right. Okay. Mr. Timmy, sorry to cut you short. Do you still have something you want to say?
All right. Thank you, Blessing. Let me just add an addition to that regarding what Bright was asking. So when it comes to brute force attack, from the attacker side, one of the ways is that people are built by culture, people are built by social environments, people are built by education. So most of the time, those word lists are created from your behaviors, right? Let me give you an example. Let's say I'm attacking a Portuguese infrastructure now. I cannot use an English word list, right? If I'm looking for a British person now, I know that they go with pets, they go with things like that. So my word list will be related to what they are built in, right? Let me give you a simple example now. If I pick an ATM card on the floor, the first thing I'll do is I will check the name on that ATM card, right? Now I can say that okay, I'll go on Facebook and check the name on Facebook, right? I'm so sure that if the person is 50 years and above, that Facebook is totally correct. It's not like we Gen Zs that don't have correct, or millennials that don't have correct Facebook. So there's a 70% chance that the pin or the date of birth of that person is also the pin of the person. So that's just a simple specimen sometimes. And most of the time, we use the same password almost everywhere, and we don't know the kind of links we go to. So those are just different word lists in which people put first to. And one of the ways you just talked about is password complexity, right? And most of the time, it's not the attacker cannot brute force it, right? But you are just blowing the attacker away. There's something we call hacking value, and there's something we call hacking sign. So much of the time, you don't have that hacking value. You are just blowing the attacker away because you take more time to brute force. So from the defense side, right, there are rules to this thing. Example, Splunk, SOC, but these are for advanced classes, right? So we can make rules. Example, if I can see the same trying of the same person trying to log in just from 5 different IPs, I can look at the timing and give a rule. If someone tries to log in, just log the person out. It can be an account lockout, right? So those are rules for the defense side, but that's advanced modern days. Then regarding the spyware, most of the time is the end user that allows spyware, right? Maybe from the apps you download. Like any one of you now, if you have a streaming app, there's a high probability that there's a spyware. Example, sometimes Temu is like a spyware, right? Some of them use them for adverts, advertisement. Example, most of them breach privacy. We talked about privacy before. So some of these times, from the link you press, you give them access to this spywares, like you just said, right? So that's a lot about it. But going too much inside is for advanced classes, and I think she has explained the best regarding for this level. All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right. So I want to show you an example of doing a dictionary attack. So I'm coming. So we have different ways of doing password cracking, different tools for password cracking. So which is I want to show you one of it. I'll be doing a dictionary attack for you now. I'll be using a tool called Hydra. So just give me a few seconds to put this up. So in the meantime, you can just take the time to check your notes for anything you don't understand or any questions you might have.
Hello, sir.
Sir? Okay. Okay, so let me change the view of my sharing. Now, for ethical purposes, which is why we do most of our labs and trying on, you get an hypervisor virtual machine to host different operating systems. So I'll be acting as the attacker, as the attacker who wants to try to get the password of this. Okay, so now you can see my screen properly. So this is like someone's system that I want to attack. I want to check get the password of this person. And I will be doing that from, I'm coming. Let me change my user. So like I said, we have different tools that we use for password hacking. We have John the Ripper, we have Hashcats, all of that. But I'll be using Hydra for you now to show you some of the ways. So I already have a word list. Now we have some conventional word lists online already. For instance, rocky.txt word list that they are filled up with different words, different characters that have been, gotten out, that people, words or letters that people use as the password. So it has thousands of it. But I won't be using, because of the amounts, how large they are. They contain different words from different countries. So I won't be using that. So I created a small a word list by myself so that we can quickly finish this for this lab. And I will be using that to show you how a dictionary attack is. So my user, you can see when I selected the user here, the user account is, the username is Martins. That's the username. So I want to know the password of Martins, being an attacker, so I want to know the password of Martins. Okay, I have two people raising up their hands. Okay, let me. All right, let's answer that before. I'm sorry, sir, Mr. Samuel, can you see? Think not it's not also fact. We have two people raising up their hands at once, sir. Mr. Samuel, can you please help us with muting the mic?
I will do that now.
Okay.
Okay, Ahmad can speak now. Ahmad can speak now.
Ahmad said you can speak now. You've been raising up your hand for a long time. Okay, if Ahmad is not ready, can you?
Not available. Yes, I've omitted Nat, so Nat can speak.
Okay, so Nat, you can also speak.
Yeah, hello, good afternoon, Miss Blessing.
Yes, sir. That's amazing.
Thank you. So my question is simple. When you talk about the password attacks, because I read somewhere, I can't remember where, but I read somewhere where we're advised not to use a password manager because if somebody has an access to your, probably an attacker probably gets an access to your system, that basically means they probably get all your password, correct? Like most of us use Chrome where we have a password manager where you can go to your Chrome and check your password. So I just want to ask, is it also advisable not to use the password manager from your perspective as an attacker? Or do you feel there's a way that can be secured as well? I don't know. So I'm just asking that. I want to have a little bit of understanding of that.
Yes, yes. That's true. What you read is correct. If someone has an access to that, even to that, the email you linked it to, the email you are using, you link the password manager to, you will have access to all your passwords. So they are not really secure. But there's something, I think there are other ways, yes, there are other ways that Google help you, your Google helping. We have the Google Authenticator, whereby for you to, it is any OTP generates for you within 30 seconds. I think so, within 30 seconds that you use for logging in. So you can link your account or most of your accounts or whatever you want to do your apps to this Google Authenticator. Let them make use of it. So that's another way you can know that. Yeah. So for anybody who wants to access your page or your profile, they have to be able to get that Google Authenticator, which is something that only you can see, only you can get. So you can do that. That's a suggestion I can give you. All right. Okay, you are still raising up your hand. You want to say something else?
Okay, no, okay, thank you for that. I'll probably ask a question later on, but thank you for the explanation. That is clear now, it's better.
Okay, so I guess Ahmad was a mistake, so we can move on then. All right. So I want to show you, one way that, okay, I would.
Hello?
Hello, we are here with you.
Okay, sorry, that was it. It was a network issue. Please, I wanted to ask Mr. Timileyin when he was talking about Temu being a spyware. So I wanted to ask what was the implication of that, like for people who have it on their phone, what was the implication of Temu being on their phone?
Oh, okay, having streaming apps.
No, he said like Temu is a spyware.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
so I wanted
All
to
right. Let me come into that matter. Right. And I'm saying that some of these demo are spyware. One of the things I'm talking about is they are also hardware. Now, anything that is affecting your privacy for marketing. There's a thin line between spyware and all this legitimate app, right? For example, most of the time you just say something, I want to buy a shoe, and some of the time you go online and you're seeing the shoe. You've never even talked to any other person regarding the shoe. Have you ever experienced that before, Emmanuel? Who has the question?
Is Ahmad? Ahmad asked the question.
Okay, Hamad. Have you ever experienced that before?
Yeah, something like
Have
that.
you ever wondered how they got that information?
No.
Exactly. Exactly. So one of the problem is privacy issue. Now, in fact, in Nigeria, I think I was doing that in my last class when we were saying that Facebook, Meta was also built for privacy issues. And Meta is even one of the major companies that has problem with privacy issues. So there's always a thin line when it has to do with privacy. And that we have GDPR now that has strict rules on that. Example, TikTok. Why do you think that TikTok is having a lot of issues selling that particular platform? It's the same reason. Spyware, privacy issues, right? So most of the time, most people invade your privacy, right, to get this information. Industry even do it where they tell you, example, when I'm talking about bring your device, we should talk about mobile platform, but those are for advanced classes, right? It's our company's own, business owned, personal enabled for mobile device application, just like bring your device. Sometimes industry will tell you that, okay, bring your device, we want to install antivirus on it. Sometimes it's our own device. Do you think we just give it for free? No, we want to have access to our own information, right? But I don't want to mention sometimes like containerization. Those are advanced courses. So when you come in, you understand this more. And the person also asking about password manager. True. So if you feel that, okay, why can't I use a password manager that doesn't have to do with my background, doesn't have to do with education, doesn't have to do with my culture. So someone cannot create a word for me. Of course, just from this keylogger that we're even talking about, it can be extracted, right? Example, section hijacking also. Once I have access to your browser, I can also pull out all those passwords. So like Blessing rightly said, one of the ways to sort that is 2MFA, right? Two-factor authentication. So something you know, something you have, or something you have. So 2MFA, just like Microsoft Authentication or Google Authentication will help you with that. But the truth is that you can't balance, just create a good password, right? Majorly just to lure the attacker away. They are not looking for you most of the time. But if we make it very easy for them, they will just come in. That's why we talk about hacking value, hacking time. Hackers have their own time. They have value for what they are working on. They will not just come to you. So the best way is just to lure them away. That's one of the best things to do. So does that answer your question, Ahmad?
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
All right.
Okay. Emmanuel Adegbite. Please, can you help unmute Emmanuel Adegbite so that I can speak to?
He can speak. I have unmuted him.
Okay.
Good afternoon. My question is regarding change.
Sorry, we can't hear you. We can't hear you properly. Or is it just
to change the encoding format on your system?
I'm sorry, but I can't hear you. Yeah, I can hear you. It's noisy, so I don't know what you're saying.
Is it possible to change the password encoding format on your system?
Is it possible to change the password?
Encoding format.
Change the password encoding format. Sorry, if anybody can hear you, can you help him? Because I didn't hear what he's saying.
Emmanuel, please, can you type your question in the chat room? We cannot hear you.
Okay. Has he dropped it?
No, he
All right, let's
hasn't.
move.
Okay.
Is it your encoding format on your system? Your encoding format on your system. I don't like your password complexity. Is that what you're asking? Is that what you're asking? You know, I explained the password, your password complexity. Is that what you're asking? Well, that one is, like I told you, Windows also they make use of Kerberos and NTLM. So it's until maybe Windows now upgrade and bring another authentication method, but you are stick to Kerberos and NTLM. You are stick to that. You okay. All right. So let's move on to So I've made sure that I'm able to connect to my targets. I've done my, from the reconnaissance step that I explained yesterday, I've done my reconnaissance, I've gathered some information, I know some things about my my targets. Before I now come to my own end and decide to now do the technical attack of getting the password. So from the information I gathered, I've been able to, know the IP address of my targets, know their username, so I've done the type of system they use, etc. I've done that during my reconnaissance. Before I now go to this password cracking. Like I said, password cracking is at the stage of gaining access. So you can see how many things you're about to do before you get it. So don't get confused by saying, well, how did you know you're supposed to do this? How do you know it is the username is Martins and all of that? It's because I have done the first 2 steps of reconnaissance and scanning. So I've gathered some things. So I've been able to know the IP address, etc. of my target. So I will just show you one of the ways. So I'll be using Hydra. Okay. So this is so this actually I'm telling it what the username of my target is, which is Martins. And I want you to pick the password, check this username, compare it to the password in this word list. So it will be making use of, I told you I've created the word list before, which I saved as word list.txt. I save it as word list.txt for me to be able to do my dictionary attack. So the password would be, you should check the password from this .txt file that I've created. That is what the -p stands for. So, and I want you to, I want to know the FTP password of Martins so that I can connect to Martins using port 21. So I want to connect to Martins via this way. So now, apart from just the username, anybody on the system can use, we have thousands of people who bear Martins on it, and they can use that name as their username. But there is something that, it is special, like your own, something that can authenticate to that recognizes you alone, just like you having your fingerprint. Your fingerprint is from the fingerprints of another person, even if they're also bearing Martins with you. So that is just what like an IP address is, something that recognizes you, that is your own address, your own identity. So regardless of having many Martins, we now know that, okay, this is Martins or $10, this Martins, that go to this, for you to know who differentiate the Martins. So, and that's why I'll be telling it the IP address of that Martins, the target that I actually have in mind, that I want to know their password. So, and the IP address that I got during all my information gathering process was this. This is the IP address of Martins. Sorry, it has been inactive for a long time. Sorry, that happened because it has been inactive for a long time, so I need to start my guests. Okay. You're supposed to go. All right. Let's take our 15 minutes break. Before we come back, it will be ready instead of waiting for this. So we won't waste our time. Okay. So let's go on a 15 minutes break for us to get this done. And we'll be back by 3:20. Yes. We should be back by 15 minutes. So that's a lot. We're back by 3:25. Okay. I hope everybody can hear me. Oh, all right. Okay, I've seen
Yes.
your comments.
Yes.
So, all right. I hope you are seated close to your system, even if you are on break. The break is just for you to go over and try to, think about all we've spoken about, all we've learned in the past over 1 hour now. So, please, if you are still close to your system, still seated there, drop some reactions. Okay, okay. So just two people. All right, everybody's close to this. Okay. So don't worry, during this break, while the break is going on, let me just finish up with this. And after the break, we can continue to the next module without waiting. All right.
Miss Blessing, someone is raising his hand. Indoko Blair Michael, I think.
Oh, okay.
Please
You can
unmute
go
your
on.
mic. You can speak. Please go ahead.
No, I guess it was part of the reaction I said everybody should give. And I told everybody to react if they are close to their system.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. I guess
All right.
the person
Thank you.
said okay.
Okay. All right. So once it is done getting the password of Martins, it should end. All right. Now, you all didn't know the password of Martins that I was entering before. So I was the user who, log into my account and all of that. And I'm also acting as the target, as the attacker. So you can see it gave me from the word list that I gave it, from the password list I created, it gave me the correct one, the one, it matches it with this IP address and the username I gave. And it could find out that the password is ghost12345. That is my password. So that's an example of doing a dictionary attack. All right. So I'll continue once it's 3:25. That's when our break ends. Okay. So our break is over. I hope you're able to digest all you've learned so far and also take a cup of tea or drink water and be refreshed. So let's move on to the next module, to our next task, which is, okay. So now let's talk about, talk deeper, because we've been making mention of this since yesterday. We've had some examples and we made mention of social engineering. So now we want to talk deeper, different ways that you could be attacked by social engineering. It's not just one way. Don't think it's only this one I should be looking for. It's only this way. There are different ways that social engineering takes place and operates. All right. Can you see my screen? And I hope you are still close to your system. Let me see some reactions. So, okay. Thank you. Thank you, Bright. Thank you, Mr. Manuel. Oh, well, so let's see. I'm only getting to reactions. Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. So let's continue. Now I'm sharing my screen again. You can see it. So let's talk about social engineering. Now, you say, what's social engineering? Am I losing any votes? Am I turning anything and all of that? But at least you know what being social is. When you talk about the social aspect, the social face, how human being relate, how things goes, things you do, things you make use of, all in the name of socializing, the things for socializing and all of that. So social engineering. Now, when we talk about social engineering, it means you are exploiting, you want to compromise, you want to exploit that aspect, that socializing aspect, that those social things, those human relations and all that, you want to exploit them. So that's what you are doing in social engineering. So social engineering is the art of convincing people to reveal confidential information. Convincing people to reveal those confidential, those things that they think they are secret. These are secret things. I can't say it. I can. You are able to convince them to what's there. It doesn't mean it's not so deep now. It's not deep. Just say it, and all in the name of, okay, it's not deep. Or sometimes because people do not even know how important the information they have They didn't know how important it is, so they just release it to anybody that looks like a nice person, or that looks like needs it and all of that. So that is what we call social engineering. So it's like a manipulative skill, a skill of deceiving and all of that, a skill of deceit. So that's social engineering. So how you are being deceived to drop your information, how you are being deceived to drop that confidential information, that important thing that's supposed to be secret, that thing that can make you vulnerable to an attack through socializing, through social engineering. So social engineers depend on the fact that people are unaware of the valuable information to which they have access and are careless about protecting it. People, they make use of it. They exploit this fact that people think that what's there, was there, this is not so important now. Or even if they feel like it's important, they do not know that it's important to that aspect, to that level. So they are not aware of how to how to cherish it to that extent that they won't release it to anybody. So this is what social engineers exploit. So before performing a social engineering attack, the attacker gathers information from target organization from various sources, such as the organization website, where employees' ID names and address email are shared and all of that. So attackers go online to research. Like I said, you have to do first and start doing all these things. Or even though social engineering can be part of your reconnaissance steps, but there are some things you should have found out also. At least you must know who your target is before you start. What are the information I want to go and start getting through social engineering? What are the things I want to know? What are the things I need? So because sometimes if you've gotten some information, know that okay, this is the CEO of this company, this CEO is like this, or maybe he's married to so person, this is what he's facing in his family. When you approach such person for a conversation, you have a way of exploiting that their condition, or how to move it to the extent that they will trust you enough to start telling you some secrets or some confidential things, or releasing some confidential things to you. So advertisement of the target organization through cast, through media reveal information such as products and offers. So blogs, forums, these are ways that places that attackers will have gone to do their own information gathering. So common targets of social engineering. Common target. Now, if you think of an organization, who is like the first person that you will meet in an organization? Okay, this is first person I will meet, and also this person should be, because of the nature of their job, they should be more vulnerable to social engineering, to socializing. Now you say, okay, now if I go there, I will meet the gateman first. But for security guards, they've been built to be stalked. When they go there, okay, you're welcome. Who are you looking for? Where do you want to go to? They are not so friendly. They can be, in as much as yes, you can still do social engineering on them. Have you not human being? Human beings are social beings. Everybody will still want to be polite. You say good morning, no, good morning. Even if I don't know you. You've entered buses or on the road, and somebody just says good morning. You want to reply good morning. You get good afternoon, good afternoon. Or the passenger you sat down beside, you might have greeted you, good morning, good morning. So human being are social being. We believe in, let me socialize, even if it's just for courtesy or just being polite, you get. And this is what social engineers rely on, the fact that we are social being. You cannot say you cannot keep your, at one point or another you will talk. Even if you are not, you are an introvert, there will be somebody in one place that you are free and you start talking. Or, there is a way that you still communicate one way or the other. So, and number one person that is like the target of social engineering is the receptionist or the help desk personnel. Now, why do we have receptionists in this list? Because number one, receptionists know so many information. They know who came in, who is going out, what time you entered, what time you left, where if you change from one officer, they know. Because at that place they are, it's just like Ojutaye, they can see everything, what's going on. So receptionists have a lot of information. They have a lot of companies database that they are working with, companies files and all that they have there. In as much as, and another thing is they have also been trained to be friendly. You know that they will be the first person that people will meet when they enter the building. They'll be the one who are supposed to answer questions and say, oh, hello, what do you want? You know, this is what we do. You are here to see Mr. So. So the receptionists, they are targets of social engineering, because you know that, yes, if I want to know what time your boss will go out, the receptionist will be able to tell me that, our boss usually leave at so time. Our boss usually come in at so time, you know. And also we have the technical support executive. These ones, if I need, you know, technical information about their infrastructure and all of that, I can get it from them. So it means making friends with people in this position would be useful for me. System administrators, user and clients. You know, I can go in through user and clients, vendors of that target organization, senior executives, because they have vital and juicy information for me. So these are like common targets. So they are not limited to this. You have to know what you are looking for or what you need, you get, and know who to approach. But these are like common targets because, you know, they have access to a large base of information for you. All right. So impact of social engineering attack on an organization. What are the impacts of social engineering attack? So organization cannot use social engineering to play. To just say you just, you know, people should make friends and just talk anyhow. So in as much as communication skill is part of the thing, they'll tell you that you must have to get a job. You still know, you must know how to bridle your tongue, what to release, what not to release, what to put out there on your social media, what to not, what you shouldn't put out there on your social media pages. So number one, we have economic losses. Economic losses, which we've made mention of. Any breach or something that comes from this can cause losses, fines, you know, it takes money. Damage of goodwill, loss of privacy. They no longer friends because an outsider now knows some things about them. An outsider now knows their house address, knows how many kids they have, the school their children are going to. When they come, when they are not outsider, know the type of system they use, the type of, so they have lost their privacy. Dangers of terrorism, lawsuits and arbitration, temporary or permanent closure. Temporary, like I said, like I've mentioned, some of these companies, they go bankrupt. They go bankrupt just from all these attacks. Some of them go bankrupt and they have to close down. Some of them that cannot afford to, they don't have enough investors to come back up. They lose it all from, you know, some information that somebody have carelessly dropped. So behaviors vulnerable to attack. You know, what are the behaviors that social engineers look out for in their target, in whoever they want to approach? Number one, authority. Like I made mention of the executives, top level executives. You know, these people have authority. They can open, they can unlock for them. You know, they can unlock, they can lock, they can open, they can close things for them. They will have access, password of confidential rooms. You know, and have all they are the one with the fingerprint for biometrics and all that to access some rooms. They are also the authority, intimidation. So they look out for all these things. This one knows, you know, or they can even try to intimidate you by themselves and see how much you can succumb to that intimidation for them. Consensus of social proof, scarcity. When there's scarcity of something, they will know that you want to rush it. That thing you are looking for, me, I have it here, is they know that people will want to rush because of scarcity. Urgency in that thing, they use urgency. They send you mail and say, grab this, we are giving you 3,000 we are giving you a coupon of $500. Click now or log in now to claim it. You know, they use urgency. If you don't click now in the next 10 seconds, you will lose your voucher, you lose your this urgency to make you rush and do whatever. Or maybe you need that thing urgently too. They make use of that. So they've done a lot of gathering, observation, and all of that. So familiarity or liking. If I have a company information on my system, and maybe I'm around my friends, somebody I trust, and I need to excuse myself and maybe go use the restroom, I won't say I want to shut down my system. I can leave it open there and go. Now, if this person is a social engineer who just made friends with me because of what they are looking for, it means what? They have access to whatever they are looking for within few seconds. In fact, if I come back and I meet them on my system pressing it, I won't say, what are you doing? You get, because of that familiarity, of that liking, you can just go there and say, you're helping me to do this, and then we move on. Whereas they have copied what they want to do. Whereas they've, injected keylogger, I believe that is what they want to. They've been able to, within those few seconds that I used to excuse myself, they've done whatever they want to do. Trust, and then greed. Temu will tell you to buy iPhone for 999 naira. You too, you want to rush and go and buy the phone for 999 naira. Is that not greed? Why would you want to buy iPhone 16 for 999 naira? And later you now complain that they are infected with advert. Is what you are looking for, because that is greed. All right. So I hope you are still with me. Okay. Awoof, and awoof, we need to tell your pocket. So, okay, awoof is great. The English word, the too short for it, is great. Not just awoof, is great. So you want to buy a whole phone for 909 naira. You want to insecticides, okay now. So these are behaviors that are vulnerable to social engineering attack. So what are factors that make companies vulnerable to attack? The factors that make them vulnerable to attack. Number one, insufficient security training. Insufficient security training. Now you can see that almost every organization are now doing security awareness training for their staff. You have to, sometimes even during onboarding, like employing new staff, they do the onboarding, some of the rules, everything. They teach you how to check out for phishing and all of that, because they know that if their staff are not well trained, they do not have this knowledge, they are vulnerable to attack. So when there are no insufficient security training, attack like social engineering is possible. Unregulated access to information. There's no regulation of what you should be able to access, what a normal contract staff should be able to access, what a permanent employee staff should be able to access, what a normal let's say accounting, a marketer should be able to access, what the manager should be able to access. There should be all this. In a sense that everybody just have access to everything. This is a file. All of us can change. All of us can, read. All of us can write. All of us can do whatever we want to do to it. So this, but when there are regulations of, okay, it is only your manager that can make any changes on this file, or every other person, in as much as you need to use this thing to work, you need to make use of the information that you can only see, and if you need to change anything, you reach out to your manager, you do. So these are, but if there are no rules like that, of course, like in the place of maybe trust or something, I will open the door and take my friend inside. And think that I just entered with my friend coming in, not knowing that my friend is actually a social engineer. So lack of security policies, several organizational units, like organizations that have many branches, and yet they still work together, like they still have some resources they make use of together. So why is social engineering effective? Why is social engineering effective? Social engineering does not deal with network security issues. Instead, it deals with psychological manipulation. Like I said in the beginning, it's like a game of manipulation, a game of deceit. So it deals with how well I am able to, psychologically manipulate my targets into releasing that thing for me. I'm able to make sure that I prove myself to be like a trusted person till that my target is relaxed enough to start releasing things to me, leaving their phone open for me, leaving their system, telling me about some things in the organization. Oh, in our organization now, we are releasing a new product. We are building a new product, and by October it should be out. What are you working on? Is one thing. You want to create a robot that can do this. I've already started talking because what I felt that person is I've trusted that person to that extent. So I've started saying different things, what we are building, what the new products we want to bring out. So it deals with psychological manipulation of human being to extract desired information. So number one, security policies are strong as the weakest link, and human behavior is the most susceptible factor to social engineering. If you set up your systems, your machine, you set them up to not relate, don't communicate to anybody, don't connect to anything, just keep this information, it will keep quiet, it will be there. Whatever you save there will be saved there. But it is you, the human being by yourself, that you say you want to socialize, you want to browse, you want to do this, and then you start turning on some things, start registering up on some things, start signing in some things by yourself. So the thing is, you can see that even these your machines, these are machines, this is your system, they are more secure than you, the human being. They are more secure than human being, because human being will be the one that want to socialize, will be the one that want to do something. If you set your laptop up not to connect to anything, don't join any Wi-Fi, don't automatically connect, don't do this, it won't. Don't install anything, it will not do it, it won't do that. You will still be the one to come and do it by yourself, because you want to browse now, you need to join a Wi-Fi, you want to do this, you need to download this app, so you are the one who start making use of social things, just for your use. So it is difficult to detect social engineering attempts. It is difficult, but not impossible, but it is difficult. So there is no method that can be applied to ensure complete security from social engineering attack. Can you see how very important it is? There is no method that can be applied to ensure complete security from social engineering attack. So it's like, just like I said in information security yesterday, you can only bring it to being low and tolerable, but you can't eradicate completely. So there is no special software or hardware to defend against a social engineering attack. All right. So what are the phases of a social engineering attack? I hope you are still with me if I move on to the explaining next thing. Okay. Drop some reaction. Let me drop some reactions. Let me see. Okay, thank you, Grace. All right. Now, phases of social engineering attack. We have research the target company, which I made mention before. You need to research. At least you must know. You must know what your target like, what your target does not like, what your target do, what your target does not do. So you have to research your target company, or whichever individual you want to attack. You have to do your research first, which is why reconnaissance has always been the first step in any hacking or any hacking practices. So you have to research, either doing your dumpster diving, your researching on their website, researching about the employees, top of the employee. Now people even make use of, if you go to LinkedIn, you will start seeing almost every staff are on LinkedIn, and you will see that it works with so company. They'll put their position, also say CEO, receptionist, secretary, this and that, HR, you see their position also, and the company they are working for, all in updating your profile on LinkedIn. So these are places that you can make your research. Select a target, identify frustrated employee of that target company, identify the one that is already frustrated, that is tired, one boss is disturbing, or the one that they just fired and is feeling like I was wrongly fired. And so you have to select, you have to pick a target from all your research. You must pick somebody that you feel that this person has the information I need and is also vulnerable, using those characters I mentioned before, and is also vulnerable. Or maybe somebody that likes free things, you like shopping online. So if I approach this person that we are selling this, or come and buy this thing from me for 999, they will drop it easily. So develop a relationship with the selected employees. Now, don't think that you maybe, yes, there's sometimes that you use a long time to develop relationship. But when you approach a receptionist and then you go there with a smile, oh, hello, how are you? How is work? How has it been? Oh, I'm fine, I'm this, and how you look, and people like compliments. And mostly receptionists are usually female because they want that feminine vibe and the smile. And so, and females like compliments. Oh, I like your look, I like your dressing, you look, it good looks on you, and from all those compliments of saying, oh, your hair looks good, you're already creating a relationship at that moment. You don't spend 5 years to create a relationship. You're already creating a relationship. You're already saying things and the smile is getting wider. So you're already creating a relationship. And there are some that you need to develop because of the extent of information you need to build it to a large range. Like there's a movie I watched, all those robotic movie and all of that. And because they wanted to know the code and everything that controls that robot, they had to send one of the agents to go even to the extent of getting married to the daughter of the developer of that robot. So that is some of the things they do. Even got married just because they want to know the secret. So exploit, and then you exploit the relationship. Now look at the state of someone who went ahead to even marry the daughter. You can exploit it. Get your father to tell me this. And the wife will have to, is my husband, release everything. So these are ways you now exploit the trust they have in you. You exploit the relationship you've created with them. So collect sensitive accounts and financial information as well as current technologies. There are some people that because you trust them, even your ATM pin, they know it. Like your ATM pin, they know it because of trust. And one way or the other, one day they wanted to go, and Nigerians like doing that one. You want to withdraw, they want to go and withdraw. You know, say, let me withdraw my own too now. Take, you give them your ATM. Withdraw for me too. The Nigerians do that, and you give them, and you take it, and then you tell them your password for them to withdraw for you. So the social engineer gets all this information. All right, so now let's talk about types of social engineering. Types of social engineering. Okay. Now we have the human-based social engineering, the ones that make use of you are interacting with the human direct and others. So sensitive information is gathered by interaction. So by interaction, that is what we call a human-based interaction. So techniques under the human-based interaction, we have impersonation. When you impersonate who you are not, you impersonate me. You enter somebody's DM now, one of them, and say, oh, hello, Emmanuel. This is Blessing, your instructor for the CH class. And I know you impersonate, even though it is not, and then you impersonate and get whatever information you want to get just from impersonating me. We have vision. Now vision is one attack that is now growing. Like it is growing nowadays very well. The day I saw an advert of on one of all these our AI sites, what do they even call this? I've forgotten. Something.io. You can access it by yourself online and just record your own voice into that AI database, and also upload a picture of your own picture, a picture of yourself. Then type in whatever you want to say. That AI will create something that looks like you, your image, moves and do things, and use your voice and say whatever you want to say. Because when the day I saw it, I said, okay, now this thing is now, is it even there for a normal civilian, a normal citizen to access? Because you think, I just want to use it for myself, I'll use it for adverts. Content creators are using it, they just put it, and then the AI start doing things with their face and creating things for them. But if the same way you can use it as a content creator because you just want to create something, the same way if I am an attacker, I can do that. Get your picture online. One way or the other, you will have posted something on social media where you are talking. Oh yeah, get ready with me today, and people just say different things. Get that recording on your voice, put it there. You get the AI copies your voice perfectly. It sounds like it is you. I can start using that voice to call your family and friends. and then start using it to exploit, get whatever I want to get from them. So that's what we call phishing. It is a type of social engineering that you do with voice, like calling, making calls and all of that. So that is phishing. Then we have eavesdropping. Eavesdropping, I've explained, you are, and it's not my English, you are eavesdropping, on somebody's conversation. Shoulder surfing, when you have to giraffe and see whatever I'm doing from, the side of my back. Dumpster diving, going to my trash bin and bringing out whatever useful thing I have dropped there without realizing that it is actually useful. So we have reverse engineering. Now, what's reverse social engineering? In reverse social engineering, I make it look like I am the one that needs help. Like I start talking about myself first. And by talking about myself, I make myself look vulnerable to you. So you feel like, this person is really vulnerable, this person needs help. And then you start saying your own too. Because I make it look like I make myself vulnerable to you first. I'm the one who needs help, or I'm the one who doesn't know that I have valuable information first. Again. So imagine I approach and I'm like, I want to, let's say I message about something, we are classmates and I'm like, oh, I'm trying to log in into, I feel like this tool, I heard about a tool now that can help you create create an AI that you can use to do your assignments and all that, and I want to set it up. I've even been trying to set it up, but I don't know. The password is rejecting my password, or what I'm creating for as password. And you ask me, oh, really? I know about that tool too. Do you know about it? Do you use it? Yes, I use it. I don't know. How did you set up your password? I've been trying to use lowercase. I spelled my name, my password, blessing, using all small letters, and yet it's rejecting it. And you're like, no, you shouldn't reject it. That's what I use for my own too now. I use small letters. At that moment, if you've told me, I already have an idea of, okay, this is how you. So I've gotten an information, even though you think that I'm the one who is vulnerable, telling you my password or telling you what I'm doing. But I've made you also come out and say what you do for me. So we have piggybacking. Piggybacking is just like the way you carry your younger ones at home on your neck. Now, in literally in social engineering, what does it mean when I piggyback? So I could come to you and say, let's say we are staff of the same organization, and then I come to you and say, please, I forgot my access card I'm supposed to use to access, like enter the building, our office. I forgot my access card at home. Can you please use your own card to open the door for me? So it means what? While you are going in, you open and then you allow me also to go because you believe I've lost my access card. I didn't bring it. I forgot it at home. So you piggyback me into the building. So that's what we call piggybacking. And then we have tailgating now. In tailgating, it's not like I don't have any agreement with you. I think you get, but I work closely with you. So by the time you open the door and want to enter, I can also quickly enter without your own access. It's not like I didn't come to you to say, please help me. But I made it look like I'm also just working. We are working together. And then when you open to enter, I enter too, before the door can lock and require me to authenticate again. That's tailgating. Then we have computer-based social engineering. Computer-based social engineering, sensitive information is gathered with the help of computers. You are now doing some technical things now. And some of the techniques are phishing. You might have come across, you will have heard of phishing email, phishing attack, and all that. So phishing, whereby you send a malicious link through email, a malicious message to somebody. We have pop-up windows attack. They just pop up on your screen. You're browsing a site and then those things just pop up. Or even on your screen, they just pop up and then you click on it, you say something. So these are ways of social engineering. Spam mail, instant chat messengers, scareware to scare you. And also mobile-based social engineering. Sensitive information is gathered with the help of mobile apps, like publishing malicious app. Everybody just go to your Apple Store, or your Google Play Store, and any app you find there, you believe that because it's on Google Play Store, it is verified. You just download. And some of those apps on Google Play Store are not, they are malicious ones. They are malicious apps. They are malicious apps. So there was a time that everybody wanted to, because of the features they told you could get from GB WhatsApp. People were just going to there and downloading GB WhatsApp. They don't want to use the Meta WhatsApp anymore. They want to be using the GB WhatsApp, because with GB WhatsApp you can do different things. You can know some of those features that Meta WhatsApp did not allow you to do. You can do on GB WhatsApp. You just go to Play Store, download GB WhatsApp, and after downloading, you see that your phone start hanging and different things. You want to send message to somebody, advert is coming in on WhatsApp as well. So they are different. Just because it's on Play Store does not mean it is not a malicious one. So using fake security apps, repackaging legitimate apps, like the one I mentioned, you repackage WhatsApp that people think WhatsApp is legitimate. You repackage it. We have smishing. So that's SMS phishing. When I send, they send SMS to you, SMS message to you, but it's not. I think during that 2020 or 2021, after the COVID or during the COVID, there was this message that almost everybody was receiving. Government is giving 80,000 naira out for COVID relief. Call Mr. Gbenga to claim your 80,000 naira. So that's an example of smishing. Because why do I have to call Mr. Gbenga to claim my 80,000 naira? So that's an example of smishing. Okay. All right. Smishing. Sometimes you will even be browsing some sites and a pop-up of phone is hot. Click on this to cool it down, whatever. And people, especially those old people that use Opera Mini or the Opera Mini app that they used to read their news, they just come up from all those app. All those mama have those Opera Mini app. And they just come up and they start clicking and different things start storing up. Their space is filled up because of things they just click on it. Okay. All right. So now let's talk about phishing more. Because we said phishing have its type, different ways, who they are focused on, who they are relating with. So phishing is the practice of sending an illegitimate email, claiming to be from a legitimate site in an attempt to acquire a user's personal or account information. So phishing emails or pop-up redirect users to fake websites that mimic trustworthy sites, which ask them to submit their personal information. I could create a link, a malicious link that looks like as if it is normal Instagram. Send to you the mail and say, oh, or even a website, you buy things on Jumia or on Temu or Konga, do it as if it is Jumia or Konga that sends you the mail of, oh, we are now doing end of the year sales. Buy everything you want to buy at 70% discount. And you click on it, and then it leads you, you click on the link, and then it leads you to a fake website that I have created. So it leads you there. When you get there, at least, now normally when you want to enter anything, since you're a user before, I will ask you for your credentials. So enter your username, enter your password, do this for you to be able to buy whatever you want to buy. I could even give you the rules that this 70% sales is only available on our website. So in case you have the app, you will not say you want to go back to the app to go and purchase things at 70%. So you stick with the website and say, so you can only purchase things at 80% discount from our website. So you want to rush to the website too. And remember, one thing that social engineer puts is urgency. So if you do not start buying within the next 24 hours, within so minutes, you will lose the offer. So you want to go there, and since it's on your website, you want to log in. I will ask you to log in to your account so that you can start purchasing. But the thing is, that website you went to is not the original Jumia or Konga app. It is a fake one that I redirect you to. It is a fake one. So computer-based social engineering. That's phishing. Okay. So types of phishing. We have spear phishing. We have a type of phishing that is spear phishing. So this one is targeted phishing attack aimed at specific individual within an organization. So I have a target. It is the technical, one of the IT guys that I need to have access to, to his device so that I can get whatever information I need. So my target would be looking for the email of that staff, getting the email and now to send that message in a way that he will not get it. So I have a target. If the reception is if it is the CEO secretary that I need, I am focusing on that CEO secretary. I am not just dropping the email to everybody all around. I now have a target. So this is a target phishing attack. We call it spear phishing. And it's like when you want to fish, that spear they use in fishing. If you dig, maybe you see a fish and then you dig it into it, can only catch one fish for you. Like as soon as you use it to eat the water, it stabs one fish and then it brings out. That's why we call this spear fishing. Okay. Excuse me. So we also have whaling. We also have whaling. An attacker targets high-profile executives like CEOs and CFOs, politicians and celebrities who have complete access to confidential and high valuable information. That's why it's called whaling. So when you hear about a whaling attack, it means I am targeting a high-profile person, somebody in complete power at high level who will have access to deep confidential information for me. So like when I target, let's say I just target a receptionist. Now there's, regardless of how a receptionist have or a secretary, maybe I target a secretary. Now, regardless of all the information that a secretary will still have or the access, they will still be limited. But when I make a CEO my target, now to the extent of accesses, permission and all of that a CEO will have. So at that moment, I am targeting someone that I know that if I'm able to get this, I can imagine I take control over a CEO's device and I use it to send message out to maybe a CFO or whoever it is, now a financial and say send that money to me, or do this, approve this project. So whaling, you are going for a higher person. Then we have farming. Now the attacker redirects web traffic to a fraudulent website by installing a malicious program on a personal computer or server. So you redirect all the web traffic to another to a malicious website. That is farming. We have spamming. A variant of spam that exploits instant messaging platform or flood spam across the network. Ayomide, please, Ayomide is raising up. Olorun Tuyi Ayomide is raising up. I think you've been okay. You can talk now.
Hello?
I can't hear you. Yeah, okay.
Thanks for the lecture. But my question is not particularly concerning this lecture. I just want to ask like a general question. Because when you were
Okay.
taking notes, a thought came to me and I'm like, okay, you people that are into like cyber security and hackers, like maybe the white hackers, like, how do they maintain their sanity of not being tempted? Because during this lecture, I'm like, bro, once you have like access to certain things, can't you just like maybe like you want to
I
like
say you want to do it. Okay. Mr. Timmy.
like keep the pressure and the temptation. Like how what do you do? How do you do it?
Mr.
I'm sorry,
Timmy.
please come again. Is there a question
Okay.
for me?
Yes, so he's asking that since we have access to all these things, like people who have access to all this information, you know how you can manipulate things, like you have these skills. How have you been able to overcome the temptation to make use of your power? Like to make use of all this knowledge you have,
Oh,
have you been?
well, when you come around, for people that will take advanced classes, it's one of the easiest we find. We talk about mental health, we talk about a lot of things because some of this time, it can make you want to run mad sometimes. You have a lot of information in your hands, and I can tell you for free that there are informations. But I think Blessing have told you before, it's just like you have a gun. But I won't a policeman or a soldier just go anywhere and go and rob, even though he has a gun. It's the same ethics. Ethics is very important, right? So that's why even though you take advanced courses, one of the things we drew you is ethics. And we also teach you industrial and even life scenarios. Because I know how interesting it can be when you have a lot of information. In fact, I just want to say a lot, as in a lot, even down to some information related to Chase Bank, a lot of things. But at the same time, ethics is very important. Trust me, ethics is very important. So the same reason, and okay, let me just an FBI guide now. An FBI IT guy can do some crazy wire transfer, and there will be no traces. How much did they pay some of them in a year? Some of them 100K dollars, some of them 120K. It's good, as in some of them 200K dollars, but it's not as much as what they can do actually. So some of them can actually do some crazy wire transfers and it will not be traceable. Although I'm not saying it will not be traceable, like hacking is a game of chess. Now, if I tell you that it's not traceable, when we do forensic, I can also tell you that it's traceable. I guess, but I'm just giving you an overview of it. So one of the things is ethics. Ethics is very important. So one of the things you guys should imbibe also is ethics, honestly. Ethics is very important. And that was a bit about Nigeria, the few people that are in the industry, most people are career people. You barely see a black hacker in Nigeria. You barely see, honestly. It's not like foreign people. And I think Nigeria should get an accolade for that. Some people are very good in hacking, but honestly, most of them are inside this career. Most of them are not black hack. So
Thank you,
that's
sir.
it.
Thank you. I really appreciate. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. That I was laughing. Yes, it's true. You know, you just have to imagine. Almost everybody have imagined it. I have access to this. I have this. So why can't I? But it's just the ethics in it. And like I said, most people in Nigeria are inside this career. Now, don't be thinking of Yahoo boys. Those ones are not. The Yahoo boys they are still even learners. They are not. You can't even call them. So don't think of maybe Yahoo boys. Yahoo boys are not black attackers. They don't have the skill or the knowledge that a black attacker will even have. They are just focusing. They just know how to I can call this exactly. So they are not. So those ones are not really. So it's just the ethics and all right. Okay. So I've explained this publishing manager. Now let's talk about insider threats. Insider threat, insider attack. Now, an insider is an employee, a trusted person, someone who have at least is someone you recognize, someone that when the person is coming in, the security man at the gate will not say, who are you looking for again? Because you are an employee, you are one of them, one of that organization. So you have access to critical assets of an organization. You have access, like imagine a SOC analyst of an organization, someone in the blue team or even the red team of an organization. So these are people who they have access to critical things. They're even the one who set it up for you. So they know everything. So an insider attack involves using privileged access to intentionally violate rules or cause threats to the organization's information or information systems in any form. So you violate that rule, you violate the right they have given you, the privilege you are given. So such attacks are generally performed by privileged users, disgruntled employee, terminated employee, accident-prone employee, third party, undertrained staff. And these are all people that I've explained. You just check, this one is angry, they just sack him, or he felt that they are cheating him in that organization, they are not paying me enough. Imagine we are making so dollars as revenue and they are paying me 50. So an employee that is already tired of the job, you can see that going to work every day is not happy and all of that. These ones are they are prone to this. They can feel like I'm not, and they are not paying me enough, and then I have access to wire their money. So why can't I do it? An employee that felt that they just sacked me, I'm not there again, and they believe they've sacked me, but I still have some information. I still know what door to open, what door to close. They can use their power, and that is insider threats. So just like the question you asked that, okay, how do I know? So these are people, you have the information. Now, reasons for insider attack: for financial gain, to steal confidential data, for revenge. They sack me, I'll show them paper, I'll make them go bankrupt. For competition purpose. They shouldn't be, my organization should be bigger than their own. Competitors can do this. Liars with one employee, or even get somebody to go and get a job in that organization just because they want to have a spy in that organization. So you can even send someone, apply for a position there, a high position, be there, so that you can be giving us information about their activity, what they want to develop, what they are doing. So become future competitor, yes. And then you plan is because you plan to become, you want to build a business to like that. Because you plan to become a future competitor with them. So you want to weaken them and get some, manipulate some of their postures before you leave, and also public announcements. So type of insider threats: we have the malicious insider, a disgruntled or terminated employee. We have negligent insider, those that are uneducated, they did not know. It's because they don't know how to make use of that thing to its full potential, or they don't know they are even supposed to use it at all. So negligence, they didn't know when, I don't know when the door opened, or I didn't know we did not turn on the security features. So these are negligence. So insiders who are uneducated or on potential security threats, they don't know. Like some people didn't know that there's something called phishing. I was talking about phishing one, and person, I spelled the phishing as PH. One person was like, how can you spell phishing? Fish as PH. It is FI. And a white person was like making jest, and I was just laughing because reverse is the case. You are the one who actually don't know that there's something called phishing which starts with PH and not the F of the fish that you know. You get? So if they don't even know that they can be attacked this way, these are the types of insider threat that we have. So we have professional insider, harmful insider who use their technical knowledge to identify weaknesses and vulnerabilities in the company network and sell confidential information to competitors. So they have the skill, they are the security people, they're the IT guys there. So they know the weaknesses they have, they know what they are managing. We are supposed to buy this and to secure this, but we didn't because the organization is managing money. We only put firewall at this end, we did not put at this end. So they know the vulnerability. They know what you make use of, they know how you share resources in that organization. And they sell the information to competitors. So we have compromised insider. So an insider with access to critical assets of an organization who is compromised by an outside threat actor. So an insider with access to critical assets of an organization who is compromised by an outside threat actor. So like I said, even competition wants to go to the extent of sending somebody to go and get a job in the other organization because they want someone who can be telling them the information. Or sometimes they even start manipulating some staff. I know what you did. You stole so money from the company's purse. So if you don't want me to expose your work, do this, tell me this, help me do this, plug this script, plug this on their server. They send them on errands because they are compromised. They tell them they are being threatened, they are being sent to do this. So these are compromised insider. Compromised insider. So why are insider attack effective? Why are insiders attack effective? So insider attacks are easy to launch. Preventing insider attack is difficult. It is. Will you not employ any staff? Of course, you will employ people now. You employ staff and they will have things they are doing, things that you cannot do by yourself. Even if you are the owner of the business, you can't do it by yourself. You don't have the skill. So you need them. So it is difficult to prevent it. And you don't know what's going on in everybody's life. So is this one that is broken and an outside attacker compromise and tell you, okay, I'll give you this money, just plug this in the server for me. So you don't know. Differentiating harmful actions from the employee's regular work is very difficult. You think it's just making use of this thing. So to differentiate that this a smart employee, to differentiate that this person is no longer just doing their work, this person is now running an attack, is difficult. You won't know that, okay, this information this person is passing is not just for the purpose of the organization. So if malicious activity is detected, the employee may refuse to accept responsibility and claim it was a mistake. Yes, it was a mistake. You could, but whereas it's actually an attack, but the employee can claim it was just a mistake. Oh, I was supposed to send it to Mr. So I meant to go and send it to another person. I didn't know. It was just a mistake. And some organization, at least the first mistake, they'll say, okay, we are warning you, don't do it again. But if it's actually a compromised person, the first mistake, we are warning you, they have gotten the information they need. They've done whatever they want to do. They've broken whatever they need to break. So employee can easily cover their tracks. They already know how to do that. So can go undetected for years, and remediation is very expensive. All right. So now let's talk about countermeasures. Now we've spoken about different ways that social engineering can happen to you. So how do you protect yourself against this? Now, in as much as you can't eradicate social engineering completely, but you can, make sure that you are strong enough to resist. You have some level of resistance against social engineering. So number one, for your password policies, periodic password changing. So even if the employee, I spoke to you today and I say, our password, this is how we set our password in our organization. What we're using to log in is goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If tomorrow, according to our policy, we are supposed to change it, and the network admin changed the password to something else, so it means the information you got previously is no longer useful. So avoiding guessable passwords, account blocking after failed attempts, increasing length and complexity of passwords, improving secrecy of passwords. So for your physical security policies, identification of employee by using ID cards. In as much as there's still the case of piggybacking or tailgating for using ID card, but to some extent, you put those security postures in place. So before, for an employee to sign in or before you can enter this office, you have to use your ID card. You have to be able to, those are countermeasures against social engineering. Uniforms, we know how they look. So escorting visitors. It's not that a visitor will just finish and then you're okay, bye-bye, and that's it. So when you have people who escort, or you have the policy of escorting visitors, so when a visitor is done, maybe being attended to in an office, maybe a secretary or receptionist have to escort them down to even the gate, like handing them over to the security guards outside. Because people can say, oh, I came to do this, and then on their way out, they quickly boycott and enter another room that they're not supposed to enter another office. So restricting access to work areas. Just because you're an employee does not mean you should be able to enter every room or every office. So proper shredding of useless document, like I said, almost every organization should have this shredding machine that any file or document you are not using again, let it be shredded completely. Put it in a shredding machine that cuts it into pieces before sending it out there to have a countermeasure against dumpster diving. Because if it has been shredded and then you go to the dustbin, what you see there are pieces of papers that doesn't make sense. So before you now say you want to join those paper back, they've given you work to do. So employing security personnel. And then when we get to defense strategy, social engineering campaign, gap analysis, remediation strategies. So these are defense strategy. Okay. So are you still with me? That means you spent a lot of time. Okay. All right. So there are different tools that we use for this, for all this phishing, different tools that we have, what we call Z Fisher, we have Go Fisher, and you use that employees, especially when they want to create all these links for you, leading you to a wrong site, a wrong social media page to ask you to authenticate, input your information. So for the purpose of our time, let me get some reaction before we go on break, so that we know we are still here together. All right, thank you, Grace. Okay, gotcha. All right, all right. So let's take some time. Do you have any question? Thank you so much for clapping. So we'll be back by 4:40, a 15 minutes break. Okay, thank you. All right, welcome back, everybody. So let's proceed to the next thing we'll be talking about today, which is network level attacks. We want to talk about some network level attacks and their countermeasures. So I'll be starting with sniffing. So sniffing is a type of network attack, sniffing. So sniffing is generally used by network administrators to perform network analysis. Now, yesterday I made mention that when we talk about you hacking, it's not like you are creating something new or you are doing something out of the ordinary. You are only manipulating the normal procedures, normal things that have been created. So sniffing normally is used by network administrators to perform analysis, for troubleshooting purposes, for troubleshooting network issues and network session, monitor network sessions. Okay, but this same sniffing, the same way an organization, a network administrator make use of it for the purpose of helping the organizations know their security process and what's going on, what's not going on, is the same way an attacker can also make use of it and for malicious purposes. So attackers use sniffing techniques to covertly investigate and capture critical information being transmitted in a network. Now, what do we mean by this? You could be, just because you are on a network, now you could be going to a site or like an unsecure site, trying to log in or input information. Now, through sniffing, I could capture those things, see what you are saying, see what you are inputting, your password, your username you use, and all of that. Through all this, I could be there just monitoring what's going on. The password somebody is sending to maybe a server want to log in, and I'm just there just observing everything, what's going on. So that's sniffing. That's what attacker use it to do. So they use it to capture critical information that are going by what is this person sending to this. That is what sniffing does for them. So it is important for security professionals to understand sniffing concepts because of the level of information that can be get from it. So packet sniffing. Still sniffing. So packet sniffing is the process of monitoring and capturing all data packets passing through a given network using a software application or hardware. As well, just like what I've explained, you are monitoring, you are capturing what's going on, what packet is going, what this person is sending. Here you can see this is a user, Smith. This is another user. Now, this is the switch that they are all connected to. And then an attacker is also there, watching everything, what Smith is sending, what Lena is sending, and observing and monitoring their interactions on a network. So now there are two ways. Okay, before we get there, let me explain how a sniffer works. So a sniffer turns the NIC of a system to a promiscuous mode, so that it listens to all the data transmitted on a segment. Now I'll explain what that is. We have two types of sniffing. Now we have the one that you can be a passive sniffing. Now, in as much as sniffing is just like, you are not changing anything. You're only watching and monitoring what's going on. But there are ways that you can also be active in sniffing, that we can say you are doing an active sniffing. You get? Now, has anybody heard of what we call a hub before? Have you heard of hub before, a hub? Hello? Just raise your hands or just give some reaction. All right, so I'll move on. So now, a hub is also a network device. You get, but mostly nowadays you might not really see it in most organizations anymore. But or being used like that for the concrete transaction or something. But a hub is also a network device. But one thing about a hub is that it is not okay. Thank you, everybody. Now, one thing about a hub is that it is not intelligent. Now, what do you mean by it is not intelligent? It does not know anybody. It does not store your face or store your whatever you've done before. So when about 3 or 4 devices are connected on the hub, when they are connected through a hub, if I want to send a message, maybe I want to send a message to, now there are 4 devices. I want to send a message to maybe if the 4th person or somebody among us there. Now, because of the fact that the hub is not intelligent, it did not save the information of whoever I want to send the message to. So it means it will just broadcast that message I'm sending to everybody. So all of you will see it, every device on that hub connected to that hub will see, they will get the message. But whoever I'm sending it to will now be the one to respond. You get? But everybody on that hub will get the message. Now, if an attacker is able to be on that network, on that be on that hub, it means he doesn't need to do a lot. He doesn't need just be on the hub, and then the messages or whatever they are doing, the packets will get to you. You receive the packet, you will see what's going on. So without doing anything, without stressing too much. No, but when an attacker is doing sniffing you're doing sniffing on a switch, which is what you mostly see in organizations now, a switch. So that is when you are now doing an active sniffing, when you're using a switch. So now, what does it mean for you to be active when you are doing a switch? Now, the difference between them is that the fact that a hub is not intelligent because it doesn't have any memory, like can store, it is this person. Blessing wants to send a message to Toby. The message should go straight to Toby. But because a hub is not intelligent, everybody, Cynthia, Dario, all of us will receive the message, and then Toby might now reply if the message is for him, recognize the message. But a switch is intelligent. Now, a switch is intelligent. The only time that a switch we have to ask first that who is this person is maybe the first time you are just trying it doesn't save the information. So a switch has something we call a CAM memory, content addressable memory. That's the full of it, a CAM. So there it saves the MAC address of every nodes that are connected to it, that are on that network. So if I want to send a message and I say, okay, this message is for IP address, so MAC address, so. It won't broadcast the message to everybody on that network anymore because it already know who I'm sending the message to. So it just go directly to the address of whoever I'm sending it to. So if the message is for Cynthia, it goes straight to Cynthia without broadcasting to every other person. Now, on such type of network, how does an attacker now carry out sniffing? Because since a switch can recognize who the message is meant for, so how do I get this? How do I know, be able to monitor and their communication, the packets that are passing by? That is when we now get to all these sniffing techniques. So we have MAC flooding, we have DHCP attack, we have DNS poisoning, ARP poisoning, switch port stealing, spoofing attack. So that is when an attacker now decides to make use of any of these techniques to be able to sniff on a switch. So, but before I explain those techniques, let's talk about protocols that are vulnerable to sniffing. Protocols that are vulnerable to sniffing. One, we have telnets. Telnet and now logging. Now, telnet, if you made your research on ports, which I spoke about yesterday, you know that a port is it doesn't have any security. Like I said, a telnet, messages and packets goes in plain text in a telnet. Your HTTP also, your data is sent in clear text on HTTP, which is why we now have HTTPS now. HTTPS is the secured one that encrypts your data, that encrypts your interaction. But on HTTP, everything goes in clear text. That means if I, as an attacker, is on that network, I can see your packets in plain text. I can see what you actually entered without having to stress myself to say, oh, I want to decrypt what's passing or what's not passing. We have POP, password and data are sent in clear text also. We have IMAP, we have SMTP and FTP. So these are all ports that they are vulnerable because data goes in them in clear text. Data goes in them in clear text. All right. Okay, so now let's talk about these techniques. I hope you got this. Now, we'll talk about MAC flooding. So MAC flooding involves the flooding of the CAM table. You remember the CAM I told you about before, that the switch saves your addresses. So when you are doing a MAC flooding, an attacker floods it. They flood the CAM table with fake MAC addresses and IP pairs until it is full. So the switch then acts as a hub by broadcasting packets to all machines on the network. And therefore, the attacker can sniff the traffic easily. It is not like in a promiscuous mode. It does not. The CAM memory is already full. It has even started purging itself. It's just like when they say they overfeed a child to the extent that the child starts vomiting. What's even inside already because you ate a lot. So, and since it is full now, since it is so full, the switch just starts acting as a hub, broadcasting the message, the packets to all machines without recognizing, oh, this is the MAC address I'm looking for. This is not the MAC address I'm looking for anymore. So, and also we have DHCP starvation. So what's DHCP before we now talk about the starvation? So DHCP stands for Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. Okay, everybody's doing Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. So it is that protocol that assigns addresses to hosts. Now, when you are on, let me say we're connected to a router. As everybody is joining that, maybe bought one MTN MTN network, and then everyone connects to it. Now, as we all connect, we are all getting, automatically getting IP addresses, or assigned to us. We are all getting it. So every resource is a server. They all have like the amount of addresses they can give out, amount of resources they can give out to nodes that come to request from them. So by the time you now stab it, like you feel you exhaust all the resources you can give out, all the addresses, the IP addresses that you can give out, you can assign to host. By the time you stab it, it can't, that means it can't give out anymore. You have exhausted all it has. It can't give. When any other user is coming, a legit user is coming to request for an address, they can't get it. And then what? You now start going to that of the attacker. So DHCP starvation attack is a process of inundating DHCP servers with fake DHCP requests and using all the available IP address. So this results in a denial of service attack where the DHCP servers cannot issue new IP addresses to genuine host requests. So the new host can no longer get them because its attackers stabbed it. It has sent fake requests, gotten all the. Now look at this image here. So this is the attacker. This is the DHCP server. And you can see how the attacker send out different requests to keep requesting for addresses and all of that. Now, by the time the user comes, user will be unable to get the valid IP address because the attacker has exhausted it. The server has given all it could give out, all the assigned number that it could give out already. The attacker has gotten it. Okay, ARP spoofing. That's another technique for sniffing. ARP. So ARP stands for Address Resolution Protocol. It is the protocol that maps your IP address to your IP address to a physical machine address, which is recognized in the local network. So you can see a poisoned ARP cache. This is the IP address, this is the MAC. Now this one is having can you see it? So let me zoom it out. Okay. So this is having 10.1.1, 11.20, and all of that. So which is already a person. By the time the switch is now on a promiscuous mode, and it has to reset itself and purge out and doesn't recognize anybody again. If there's a request or there's a packet going for any other person, the attacker can now claim to be the one and say, I am the one it is my own IP address. I'm the one you are looking for, whereas it is not the attacker's own. So ARP poisoning involves sending a large number of forged entries to the target machine ARP cache. So the ARP spoofing is a method of attacking the Ethernet LAN when a legitimate user initiates a reception with another user in the same layer, which the switch broadcasts an ARP request to the recipient's IP address, while the sender waits for the recipient to respond with the MAC address. So this message is for 192.168.0.62. So expecting you to verify yourself that, okay, this is my IP address and it matches with, this is my MAC address and it matches with my IP address for you to receive the message. So while the sender, an attacker eavesdropping on the unprotected layer 2 broadcast domain can respond to the broadcast ARP request and replies to the sender by spoofing the intended recipient IP address. So now come and say, I am the one. And then the attacker runs a sniffer and turns the machine NIC adapter to a promiscuous mode. Okay. Can I get some reaction before I continue? Let's know that we are still here because we are serious. Okay. It's easy for people to get distracted when you are in an online meeting or online classes. So that's why you keep asking for these things to make sure that you are still, you haven't lost your attention. So what are sniffing countermeasures? Restrict physical access to the network media to ensure that the packet sniffer cannot be installed. Use end-to-end encryptions. Don't use ports or services that packet goes in plain text, in clear text. So use the ones that use end-to-end encryptions. Like you can see when you are making, maybe you are doing making a call on your WhatsApp. One thing they'll tell you is end-to-end encryption, your communication is encrypted. When you use things like your HTTP, which is also supposed to encrypt your interaction, your activity. So whatever you're sending should be encrypted. That is what the security is there for. So permanently add the MAC address of the gateway to the ARP cache. So you add the MAC address of the gateway to the ARP cache permanently by yourself. So use statistic IP addresses. Now, when we say statistic IP address, that means you are not relying on the DHCP to give you an IP address anymore. You manually set up your own IP address. Do you get? So things like maybe DHCP starvation is now like a countermeasure against that, because you use a statistic IP address. You didn't rely on the DHCP to give you an IP address. So an ARP tables to prevent attackers from adding spoofed ARP entries for mashing in the network. And turn off network identification broadcast, and if possible, restrict the network to authorized users to protect the network from being discovered by sniffing tools. So these are countermeasures against sniffing. All right. So all right, I'll still be showing you some I'll be showing you a way of doing sniffing later. But let's move on with our explanation before I do some sniffing practices for you. So another network attack we have is denial of service. Denial of service. And also we have DDoS, that's distributed denial of service. So you say, what's denial of service and what's distributed denial of service? And in as much as they still do the same thing, the result you're expecting the same thing, but how you achieve that is different. Now, when you are doing a denial of service, it means the attack is coming from just one node. Okay, but when you are doing a distributed denial of service, you are getting as many nodes, as many devices as possible to keep doing the attack for you. That's where things like using your botnet that I spoke about yesterday comes in. So you get you infect different nodes. You call them zombie nodes. So you get different nodes to keep doing the same thing for you. Keep requesting, making those requests and starving the server. Exhausting its resources. So that's what we call distributed denial of service. So the attack is not just coming from one source. You have many devices doing the same thing for you. Okay. Okay, so what is a DOS attack? In as much as I've made some explanation, but let's wait. So denial of service is an attack on a computer or network that reduces, restricts, and prevents accessibility of system resources to its legitimate users. So you've reduced it, or you've even restricted it, you shut it down completely because it can no longer give out any resources to anybody, can't offer any service to anybody anymore. So attackers flood the victim system with non-legitimate service requests or traffic to overload its resources. So that's what we call a DOS attack, denial of service. And sometimes when these things are, they've dropped out all the resources, it has been overloaded, they are now empty. Sometimes they just shut down. That's when now things like they just went down, we shut down because it cannot, it doesn't have anything to offer anymore. So flooding the victim system with more traffic than it can handle, that is what you do in denial of service. Flooding the service with more events than it can handle. Just know that in denial of service, what you are bringing out is something that is more than what your target can handle. So crashing a TCP/IP stack by sending corrupt packets, crashing a service by interacting with it in an unexpected manner, hanging a system by causing it to go into an infinite loop. So what is now a distributed denial of service? Now you can see just one attacker got different people. Like I told you, your phone or your gadget might be there, your laptop working for someone else somewhere, and you won't know. So you get different devices, call them zombie nodes, or compromised pieces, to keep requesting, doing the work for you. So the attack is not just coming from one person, it is now coming from different sources on one target server. So distributed denial of service is a coordinated attack that involves a multitude of compromised systems, botnets, attacking a single target, thereby denying service to users of the targeted system. Because it has been flooded with fake requests. All right. Countermeasures for DOS or denial of service or DDoS. One, use strong encryption mechanisms such as WPA2, AES. I think this WPA2, you would have seen it on your Wi-Fi settings, for broadcast network to protect against eavesdropping. Ensure that the software and protocols are up to date, and scan the machine thoroughly to detect any anonymous behavior. Disable unused and unsecure services. So if it is an unsecure service or you are not even using it at the moment, just disable it. Block all inbound packets originating from service ports to block the traffic from reflection service servers. Update each kernel with latest release. Patches are very important. So you patch and you update everything to its latest release. Prevent the transmission of fraudulent address packets at the ISP level, right? I was going to show you, one way of doing sniffing. Let me do that first. So I just want to show you one way, an attacker can be on a network and then be sniffing, capturing what is going on, what you did on your own end on that network. Apologies for, okay. It's already working. All right. It's open like that. Okay. Now, careful. Whatever I'm doing here, they are all from like legitimate sources. They are all resources that I could make use of. So I'll be doing password sniffing now. I'll be doing password sniffing, but the site I'm using is not like a site that I am not authorized to use. So all ethical purposes. Now, there's a tool we use for capturing and monitoring tools like that, which is called Wireshark. And you should have heard of Wireshark before. So I, as the attacker, I'll be making use of a Wireshark to monitor what's going on that network, because I want to sniff out, I have a target. I want to know what the communication among them, the packets that is passing by their data. So all right. So you can see how Wireshark is monitoring everything, what is, TCP, protocol, ERP, what's going on, everything. It's that you see it on Wireshark. So now this is just an innocent user on our own end that just wants to log into a site. Now I have my Wireshark running already on the attacker's end. And this is another user on that network that just want to that's just doing a normal thing, not knowing that there's already there's someone monitoring already. Okay. All right, so this site I'll be using is can you all still see my screen? Because I think I lost it. I didn't even know. So can you all still see my
Yeah, I
screen?
can see your screen.
Okay.
Yeah, we can see your screen.
All right. So the site I'm going to, is called moviescope.com. So I'm going to a movie website. I want to download movie. Or it could be a shopping browser. I'm just browsing from my own end. So now you can already see the fact that I'm using an HTTP site. You know that everything I'm doing will be in plain text. There is no encryption on this. This is an HTTP site because I'm making use of the HTTP. So now this is the site. We just use any name, and let me say my username is Blessing. And my password is, let's say my password is, let me use password. My password is password. Okay. So from my own end, just doing my thing, I decide to, I just went to a site that I want to use, do my work. So I've logged in. Now let me go back to the Wireshark that I'm using to monitor. Right. So I'll stop this now. Right. So everything it has captured for me, I want to save it so that I can make use of it. Just say that. Okay, I'll save on my pass. Okay. So you can see I've saved everything that it has captured for me so far as sniffing test. I use that just because it's just for testing. Okay. Now I want to be able to trace down my search, what I'm looking for in whatever it has captured before, so that because we have a lot. Now look at the list of everything it has captured. Before I find out what I'm looking for, is a lot. So I want to be able to trace it down. So I will do something like in the apply filter, I will be doing this. So I'm looking for any request that relates to HTTP request method, post, and all of that. So this is what I am looking for. Okay. Packets. So I'm looking for password. So find any thing that relates to password for me. Okay. So now look at this. Can you see this site? Can you see my screen well? Although it's tiny, but I don't know. You should be able to see it. Let me see if they are dropping an image. Can you see the screen well? Even though they are tiny. All right. So you can see after tracing it down. Now look at it just from capturing, because you're using a port, a service that is not encrypted, that doesn't have security in place. So look at the username I inputted, blessing. The password I use, I use the password as I use my password as password. Now it got everything for me. So this is an example of doing a password sniffing, on a network. So you are just there on your own end thinking you are just browsing, you are just doing your thing, but I am here capturing everything going on that network. And I could even trace down like my search to what I'm looking for, so I can get what I'm looking for as fast as possible. Does anybody have any questions yet? Okay. Let me stop sharing that thing. So we'll talk about one more network attack, which we call session hijacking. So let's talk about that briefly before. Okay. All right. So session hijacking, we'll talk about this before the end. Session hijacking. Now, session hijacking allows attacker to take over an active session by bypassing the authentication processes. Now, what does this mean? We've been talking about password cracking before, or for you to have access, at least you must have my password for you to be able to enter, for authentication purposes. But when we talk about session hijacking, in session hijacking, the attacker is not looking to crack your password. He's not waiting for how he will authenticate himself, do the authentication by himself. The attacker will wait for you to do the authentication, and then what? And then hijack that session from you. So he will bypass the authentication. He is not the one doing the authentication by himself. You will do it. You will do the authentication and enter before the session is now hijacked from you. So that is what happens in session hijacking. Okay, so session hijacking refers to an attack in which an attacker seizes control of a valid TCP session between two computers. So you're already going, I don't know, has anybody experienced this before? Now, in as much as that might not be the attack, but sometimes when session hijacking takes place, these are some of the signs you'll see. You logged into maybe a site, you're already doing your thing, and all of a sudden you just that you were taken out, like from the browser you're using, you just got out, your screen just take you out of that browser and you're on your normal desktop. And then you have to open it again. Or sometimes it will even bring you back, say it's open back. I don't know if it usually happens to most people. Sometimes you will have come across it. Sometimes you can say, oh, it's just network glitch or so. But when session hijacking takes place, these are some of the things that you will just notice. So sometimes they even cut you off completely. You don't go back to, you just that you're not able to access. You want to log in again, and you cannot log in again because someone else is already making use of your session. Or sometimes they don't cut you off. You just think that it's just network glitch, you just think it's just network glitch, and you just decide to log in back again and say, oh, my network is not good. I think the network broke out or something, and then you continue your browsing. Or sometimes your session has been when session timeouts, it means the session is actually timeout. You've ended the number of sessions given to you at that moment. So sometimes you might have to re-authenticate again. Now, in times of session hijacking, what you'll be seeing will not be session timeouts. Okay, it might be session in use. Session already in use. So that means someone is making use of it somewhere. So you will not be to ask the question like, I'm the owner. Why is it already in use? And it's not me that is using it. Not session timeout. When session timeout, it means that that discussion, that connection, that moment has been broken. You get it has been broken. But if it's still in use, you see session already in use. That means it's being used somewhere else. So most authentications only occur at the start of the TCP session. This allows the attacker to gain access to a machine because it is just when you wanted to enter, when you wanted to make use of that thing that you authenticated yourself, that you did the, all those authentication processes of sending your credentials, etc. But once you're able to access, you continue. You continue your browsing freely or continue your communication freely without any check anymore. So because of this, it makes it easy, make it useful for an attacker. So as far as you've authenticated completely, I just have to hijack that session from you, hijack the IDs and all of that, take the IDs and continue using it at my own end without having to go through biometric two-factor authentication, MFA and all of that. So attackers can sniff all the traffic from the established TCP session and perform identity theft, information theft, frauds, and etc. So the attacker steals a valid session ID and use it to authenticate himself with the server. Now, when you are when you are browsing maybe on your Chrome or something, sometimes you get to a site and they tell you, we keep cookies, allow for us to keep cookies and all of that for you to keep. So, and you notice that most time when you do, maybe you set your Chrome or your browser to always accept cookies, to accept cookie. So any site you've gone to before, wherever you went, maybe you are browsing on this and this is the page you are on, the last page where you were on, or maybe you were editing, you're in your settings setup, you were editing some of your settings before you went out of it, before you dropped your phone, and another day and you went back there again after some hours. Maybe you went out to something and then you came back after some hours or even another day. Now, by the time you go to that your browser again to type the website, maybe www. Whatever website you're going to, it doesn't, most time you don't have to authenticate again. It just continue for you wherever you stopped the last time. That setup page, that setting page that you stopped will be where you just get back to. That's where it will just take you back to. As I said, before you even enter the complete www.instagram.com, it has completed it for you. Click enter and then it takes you back to the last page you finished. That is because the cookies you kept are like an ID. It has like an ID number for you that makes the server, whichever server you are relating to recognize you. So anytime you go back, the server just have to compare the get the ID, the ID that was saved on your own browser, and then use it to check its own memory and say, okay, has this person been here before? Where did they end? And that's why it took you back to whichever site, whichever page you were the last time you were browsing that site. So, okay. Now look at this image. This is the victim and this is the attacker. This is the server. So the victim did all the credential transmission, credential confirmation, session setup, data request, data transmission. And then the attacker now did was sniff the traffic, hijack the session, and then continue with your own credentials on the server and continue browsing that site for you. So imagine it was maybe your banking page or so that you were. It means the attacker now doesn't need to authenticate, or he can just get there and in as much as if it's banking, you still have to, when you want to send money, you still have to authenticate another way. So, but these are because builders and organizations know that attacks can be on this level. That's why there are countermeasures for them. So we'll still get to countermeasures for this also. So those things are countermeasures. There are some sites that you log in now, and as soon maybe for some seconds you became inactive on that site. They didn't notice your cursor moving or you clicking on anything. It just take you out. And by the time they tell you need to reauthenticate again, they have some seconds. They count some minutes for you that if this person is inactive for this minute, for so minutes, you have to reauthenticate again. So those are for security purposes to be a countermeasure against this session hijacking. Or some of them, like, I've signed it now. I just went out, maybe went to my home page, and coming in back, you're asking me to sign in again. So it is because they want to make sure they at least have some resistance towards session hijacking. So why is session hijacking successful? Absence of account lockout for invalid session ID. Weak session ID generation algorithm or small session ID. Insecure handling of session IDs. Indefinite session timeout. So there is no, just like what I said, there is no session right now. You went out or you came back the next day. Just go to your browser and then it continues for you. So there is nothing like session timeout for them. There's nothing like, because we've noticed that you are inactive, your cursor did not move, you didn't click on anything, then we took you out because your session is now out. So if there are no policies and protocols against that, session hijacking will be successful. So most computers using TCP/IP are vulnerable. Most countermeasures do not work without encryption. So there must be encryptions. All right. Type of session hijacking. We have in the passive attack, an attacker hijacks a session but sits back, watches and records all the traffic in that session. And we have the active one. the attacker finds an active session and seizes control of it, takes over completely, log you out, and continue using it. So that is an active session hijacking. Okay, so we'll take a look. All right, so now let's talk about this session hijacking countermeasures, because it's very important to know the countermeasures. Like I said, you are not needed as an ethical hacker just to come and show us that I know this type of attack. I know this is what you can do to attack you in this way. You should also be able to provide solution. You are needed for their security purpose, for the improvement of their security. So you should know the countermeasures against this attack. In as much as you know the problem, you should know the solution. So so we have the manual method for detecting session hijacking, manual method. So the manual method involves the use of packet sniffing software, such as Wireshark and Steel Center Packet Analyzer. The Wireshark was the one I used in the sniffing that I showed you the last time. So to packet analyze, to monitor session hijacking attacks. So the same way I could also stay there, behaving like a network administrator using Wireshark to check whichever activity is going on. It's the same way you as a security personnel will be able to use it also. So use it to monitor, see what's going on. This thing broke at this moment. So the packet sniffer captures packets in transit across the network, which then analyze using various filtering tools. So we have first ARP entry. That's another method, first ARP entry. A first ARP entry involves replacing the MAC address of a compromised machine in the ARP cache of the server with a different one in order to restrict network traffic to the compromised machine. So when you notice that this machine has been compromised already, just replace the MAC address. Replace the MAC address in the ARP cache, the ARP table, so that the compromised one will not have access anymore to that network, and they won't be able to monitor. We have the automatic method. The automatic method involves the use of an intrusion detection system, an IDS, and IPS. These are all security tools, the security tools that you use. You have your IDS, your IPS, your firewall. So these are all like for security purpose. So when you use an IDS, or especially your IPS, now you can see from the word intrusion prevention system. So an IPS does not only detect, it also prevents. So as far as it detects that there's a malfunction somewhere, it prevents it. It takes the automatic step and prevents it. So this involves using the IPS to monitor incoming network traffic. So if the packet matches any of the attack signature in the internal database, the IDS generates an alert, whereas the IPS blocks the traffic from entering the data. So the IDS will generate the alert. Oh, I noticed that there's a malicious activity going on, check it. But the IPS will immediately block it. It will take the automatic method for blocking that activity. So session hijacking countermeasure. One, use a secure shell, SSH. Instead of using a telnet, use your SSH. SSH stands for secure shell. So use a secure shell to create a secure communication channel. So instead of using a telnet, use your SSH. So that one is a communication channel that has security in place, unlike a telnet that everything goes in plain text. So our pass authentication cookies over to HTTPS. Implement the logout functionality for the user to end the session. So if you notice that this user is not ending the session and we are not noticing any movement, no activity, you are not clicking on anything else, implement it in your own setup that in so minutes when there are no activity, let there be automatic logout for this user or for our users. So generate a session ID after a successful login and accept session IDs generated by the server only. So ensure that data in transit are encrypted and implement the defense in-depth mechanism. Use strings or long random numbers as session keys and etc. So we have use firewalls and browser settings to confine your cookies. You know, I'm sure most of us, if you go and check your firewall settings, some people might have turned off the firewall self without knowing that it is off. So you can go and go back to your desktop now, to your PC, and check. Oh, I'm sorry, someone said my screen is not showing. Is that it for everybody? Is everybody facing that issue?
Your screen is showing.
Oh, okay.
I can see your screen.
Oh, all right. Because I saw a message now. Someone said so. That means it should be your network then, Muhammad Bola. So that is your internet from your end. So not from my end. All right. So use strong verification, use strong authentication such as Kerberos. Kerberos will give you it's a ticket granting service. So you have to use the whichever ticket it has given to you for authentication for that session you are in it. So or peer-to-peer virtual private network, your VPN, while browsing. So these are all countermeasures for session hijacking. All right. Okay. So we have come to the end of today's class. Any question? Okay. We have question from Right Okay. Can you unmute yourself, or do you need help with that?
Okay. Good evening, Miss Blessing, and thank you so
Yes,
much
sir.
for the lecture so far. I just a small question though. So regarding the timer section, right? So which one is the best? Is it for inactivity or giving stipulating a particular time frame? Okay, after 5 minutes, log this user out, or for inactivity? Which one is best to be implemented?
Oh, for logouts.
For the section timeout, right? Is it for inactivity or for S time frame? Which one is best to be implemented?
Well, implementing whichever one you implement depends on the service you are offering to your users. So there are some of them like this. If you implement within some minutes, log them out, and then even if they are still working, or if something log them out, it might be that it will affect their work. Like maybe sometimes once you log them down, they have to start again from the beginning. So you have to know the organization you are working with before you know the right rules or policies that will be useful to them and it won't affect their job. One thing about organization is that they are based on profit. They all want to make profit. So all the security they are putting in place because they don't want to lose money. They want to continue to make that profit. So, and if you see that, okay, them being inactive for so amount of time is the rule that works with them, that works for this organization. So that would be what you would prefer for them. So it depends on whichever organization you are working with or whatever service you are rendering on that app or that website. So imagine if as we are on this team call now, and team go and set up a settings that in so minute log them out and let them come back again. You can see it will affect us because we are having a meeting of 4 hours and maybe they now can set it to once they've done it to so minutes, 1 hour, log them out. It will affect us. You get it? But there is a setup that if we are not doing anything, they notice that nobody joins the call, a call is going on and nobody joins for some minutes. There is that logout session of clearing that meeting and logging everybody out. So do you understand what I'm saying now? So it depends on the service you are rendering before you know what right policies goes for your you are still raising up your hand. Is there something
No,
else
well,
you want to?
no.
Oh, okay. So I hope you understand what my explanation.
Yes, yes. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right, sir. So now I'll be handing over to Mr. Tino, Mr. Samuel.
Whatever it gives to security is what it gives back to you. Every day is for the thief, but one day is for the owner. That talks about that the thief is 99 times smarter than the owner. That's what it means. One, you must need to think like one.